ups and downs, witnesses disappearing, cars being burnt in different states.
Yeah, I just saw someone get shot behind us here laying on the ground. We have someone that just got shot here in front of our property. Is there two people?
Detectives arrived to the scene. Patrol let them know the driver of the vehicle was rushed to the hospital. It appears that she was hit with the UWAP through the driver's side door. The passenger got out the vehicle and was hit also. She expired. She's identified as Amanda Douglas, 26 years old. She leaves behind 2 daughters. Amanda was hit in the head, neck, and chest. The driver, who's in critical condition right now, is identified as Jennifer Sanders, the oldest of 2 children. She was hit in the knee and 3 times in the chest. The detectives speak to the property manager, learn that Jennifer lives in the apartments near where the car was parked. They find 2 phones. Then they take the 911 caller down to the station, along with a woman who works at the complex. They also notice that the apartments has cameras. So they head to the station for interviews, get a call from the hospital that Jennifer expired. So now it's a double. So the first interviewer was the male 911 caller. He states he comes out of his apartment, heard the UWAP go off, and see a guy at the front of the car on the passenger side. It looks as he were aiming at the ground. He get in his car and drive that way and see a woman on the ground with red coming out of her head. The guy took off and he called 911. The detective asked him to describe the suspect.
He's definitely black. He looked like he was pretty thin, like late 20s, early 30s.
So they end that interview. Detective White start interviewing the other witness. She says she started hearing the UWAP go off. She went to see what was going on and noticed a black male getting into his car. She tried to stop him, but he drove around her and headed toward 31st. She noticed a victim in the driver's seat, but a coworker told her not to touch anything, so she just stood there. White asked her to describe the guy. She says about 6'1", skinny, has a goatee, in his late 20s. And the vehicle he was driving was a gold Grand Prix with tinted windows. And she got the tag number. So White in that interview punched the tag number into the computer. It was reported stolen yesterday. So they issue a be on the lookout for the vehicle. Back at the scene of the incident,
They've been fighting over the baby. Jennifer is the one who lives there, and Amanda just stays with her. This guy's bad. He's bad.
but she doesn't know his name. Then a detective says there's a car seat in the car. They said no, it isn't. So they say we have a missing kid then. So they wrap that scene up, head back to the station, look up Amanda in the computer, and sees that she's married to a guy named Larry Douglas. Detectives are already familiar with Larry. When they were working street crimes, he was moving their work. He's identified as Larry Douglas, Jr., 41 years old, prized for possession. They see that Amanda filed a protection order against Larry 6 days ago, and a couple of assault and battery charges which were dismissed because Amanda never showed up. Now they get the video from the apartments.
755 at Parks. The shooting was at 9:21.
So he's hanging out there waiting?
Yeah, at 9:22-ish. Cars leaving a lot.
He just casually drives out, stops.
He used to turn signal and everything.
So they release a photo of the vehicle to the media. The Warren squad went to an address they have for Larry, couldn't locate him, and said that his ex-wife just called and said they were looking for him. They asked Larry, can he come to the station? He says that he's in Oklahoma City and will be back that way later on. They asked Larry, does he have a kid? He said yes. So the detectives end that call. They don't believe he's the one who hit Amanda and Jennifer with the UWAP. He doesn't fit the witness description of being 6 feet, 140, 150 pounds with a goatee, mid to late 20s. So they feel maybe Jennifer could be the target. So they punch her name into the computer to see what type of history she has with them. She has some possession charges, nothing else. So they see a post that she made 21 hours ago saying she was with her BFF, Kelly Perez. So they go speak to her. Detectives ask her what was Jennifer into.
She was behind on her rent and stuff like that, so
She agreed to do a favor for a friend who's in prison.
she took it to the casino, was trying to make more out of it, and ended up losing a lot of it.
She said maybe they came back. So they end their interview and head back to the station, hoping to get some information off Jennifer or Amanda's phone. Jennifer's phone is still downloading, but they see something on Amanda's phone. She has a missed call from the DA. They were issuing a warrant on Larry today for an incident with Amanda, and once he was arrested, Amanda would have DFS get her child back to her. So they also see a message that she sent her lawyer. They contact the lawyer, and she agrees to come down and get him some background information on Amanda's situation. So they end that phone call. Then Larry calls and said that he'll be down to the station Monday with his lawyer. So later on, Amanda's lawyer shows up. She says that Amanda told her that she has been basically held hostage at his house and has been threatened if her or her child try to leave. She said that Larry had a guy named Dale watch over her to make sure that she didn't appear in court or anything. She also said Jennifer was helping Amanda in the case, and that Larry called Jennifer and told her that he had enough money to hire someone watch her back. So now they're back on Larry.
So we're back on Larry?
I think he may have hired somebody to do it. And he's got this guy that lives with him named Dale. This guy will tell him to do something and he'll do it.
They punch Dale into the computer. He's identified as 56-year-old Dale Childress, has prize for burglary and possession. Then Amanda's sister shows up wanting to talk. She said the first person that came to her mind when it happened was Larry. She said they were at court Monday, and Amanda told them about everything shady Larry was doing. So detectives tell her that they spoke to Larry, and he's in Oklahoma with the baby. She says Larry doesn't have the baby. She shows them a text from Larry's second ex-wife saying she has the baby. So they write down her phone number, end that interview, and contact Larry's second ex-wife. They ask her, does she have a baby? She said yes. She picked her up from Larry's first ex-wife yesterday. They asked her when did she speak with Larry last. She said that he called earlier to check on his daughter. So the detectives end that phone conversation, and Larry calls immediately and asks the detective why did they just question his ex-wife. The detective tell him that we have to come at you first because you were in a custody battle with Amanda. Then he asks Larry about Dale. So Larry gives him Dale contact information. So he ends that call with Larry.
People that we're talking to are talking to Larry.
The Warren Squad tracked a debit card registered to Dale being used by a store near where Jennifer and Amanda stayed. They get the video from the QT. You see Dale and Larry. They exit and get into the Ford Escape, Larry's ex car. The QT they are seen at is near the apartments, and this is the night before the M. So the next day, Larry and his lawyer show up at the station. The lawyer said that he advised his client to remain silent. So they present Larry with warrants to get his fingerprints and saliva and release Larry. His phone records come in, and Larry was in Oklahoma at 9 a.m. on the morning of the incident. The incident happened at 9:22, so he couldn't have hit her with the UWAP. Then while working on another case, they find a gold Monte Carlo. They burned the inside of the vehicle, but didn't do a good job. They recover a bag of watermelon candy, some napkins, and a coffee cup for evidence. Also some cigarette butts. They get DNA off the butts. It takes some time to get the results. Then they call the main office of the store associated with the napkins they found in the vehicle. The main office said they can use the UPC code off the watermelon candy to see what store it was purchased at. Then they figure out where the coffee cup was purchased at.
This cup was found burned up in the vehicle that was used during Z's double. Nate goes to Fiesta Mart and finds this cup. Fiesta Mart's corporate office and see if they can pull up the video.
It was a Fiesta Mart 2 miles from Jennifer's apartment. They head over there to get that video, come back to the station and start reviewing the footage. They see a young skinny guy getting coffee, goes to the counter to pay for it. The guy standing next to him and paying for everything is Larry. The guy exits and gets into the vehicle with Larry. Then they get the convenience store video where they brought the watermelon candy. They review that footage and see Dale buying the candy. So they check to see if anyone else is with Dale. They see the young kid that brought the coffee with Larry. He matches the witness description of the one who hit them with the UWAP. So they check Dale's phone record and see that he called the same number 3 times after the incident. So they run that number on Facebook, and it comes up as the guy seen with Dale and Larry. His name is Quintel Sharpshooter. So they enter Quintel in the database. His real name is Quintel Averson, 25 years old, did 4 years in prison. So they print his photo, take it to the woman who worked at the apartments, who witnessed everything, and she picks him out. They issue a warrant for Quintel. The warrant squad snatch him up, bring him to the station. They start by laying out all the evidence.
There's a little bit of the evidence we have. That's you being identified as a shooter. That's you at the Quick Trip. That's you and Larry Douglas showing up that morning at the Fiesta Mart. The car that you tried to burn up didn't burn up.
Then they asked him, how do we know Larry? He said that he doesn't know Larry. So they asked him, do we know Dale? He says no. Then they show Quintel photos of Amanda and Jennifer. He said that he doesn't know them either. Quintel stuck to his story. He said that he doesn't know what happened, so they end that interview and arrest Quintel and begin a search for Dale. While searching, a 911 call comes in.
Federal County 911.
Yeah, I was just driving down a road and I think I saw a body on the side of the road. It's on 59th Street between Hillside and Oliver.
Dale Childress was found hit with the UWAP in a rural area in Wichita, Kansas. So detectives from Kansas team up with Tulsa. After learning Dale was also wanted in Tulsa, Dale was hit 3 times in the face, once in the back. Found some distinctive tire tracks, and they feel that these cases are going to be connected. Then Kansas detectives get a tip saying look at a guy named Pops in connection with Dale. They identified Pops as James Marshall, 54 years old, 2 priors. They went by James' house and found Larry red Charger in the driveway. They bring James down to the station for questioning. They asked James, do he know Dale? He said yes. He met him through a friend named Larry. So they asked him where was he on Sunday when Dale expired. He said that he drove out of town for a minute to Kansas. The detectives asked who was he with. At that point, James lawyered up. So they don't have enough yet to hold him, so they release James, check some things in the computer, and find out that a green Buick LeSabre is registered in his name, but they didn't see it when they went to the house. So they begin to search for the vehicle so they can try to match the tire tracks. Get a call that the Buick was found burned up in Dallas. It was towed from an apartment complex in Dallas. James Marshall came and got it out of tow, and it was burned the next day. They said the tire tracks matched those that Dale seen. They issued warrants for James Marshall. The warrant squad snatched James up and take him to custody. Then hit Larry's house and find nothing. Then they partner with the FBI, who's investigating Larry on trafficking and racketeering.
In 6, the FBI arrests a man in Kiefer suspected of threatening a witness in a federal case.
Larry Douglas Jr. is one of the witnesses in the case. Says Douglas beat her and threatened both her and her daughter to keep her from testifying.
Larry Douglas ended up pleading guilty to continuing a criminal enterprise and conspiracy to use the UWAP in relation to a crime of violence. He also admitted that he hired James Marshall to handle Dale Childress. He received 21 years. He was never charged with the M of Amanda and Jennifer. DNA on the cigarettes matched Quintel Averson. He was found guilty of the M of Amanda and Jennifer and was sentenced to life without parole. James Marshall pled guilty to second-degree reckless M in connection with Dale Childress. He received 16 years.
There's a female who's a federal witness that he severely beat numerous times over the course of a weekend. So the warrant was issued and we snatched him up. Grady's off the street.
A day after Quintel was arrested, he makes a collect call, telling someone he's in the county on 2 counts of M, and they have a lot of proof. A while later, he makes another call to a woman, saying that he's been having dreams that he out. Then he tell her that he need a couple passports, so if he do get out, he can leave the country. So on April 19, 2016, the trial of Quintel Averson begins.
I'm sitting there in the courtroom, emotionless, nothing on his face. He didn't look like he was very sorry about anything.
The prosecution calls the woman who ID'd him in the getaway car. The prosecution knew she saw him and could put him behind the car. The defense said you can't really rely on her testimony because she couldn't have seen what she said she saw. And Quintel hurt himself by distancing himself from Larry and Dale when they had evidence showing them on video together. The jury deliberated for 4 hours and found Quintel guilty of 2 counts of first-degree M. Thank you for watching. Hit that thanks button. Hit that like button. Leave me some comments. Stay safe out there. I'm done talking.